Today, we're going to delve into the vital aspect of project management, which is project cost management. Project cost management is a rigorous process that involves estimating, budgeting, and controlling costs throughout the project lifecycle. The ultimate goal here is to ensure that our project costs do not exceed the approved budget. Let's break this down. First, we estimate costs to determine what the project will likely entail financially. It's not just about guessing, it's an informed calculation based on historical data, resource costs, and risk analysis. Next, we move on to budgeting. Here, we allocate the estimated costs into the overall budget, ensuring we have a financial blueprint to guide our spending throughout the project. Controlling costs is where we monitor the heartbeat of the project's finances. We track our expenditures and manage changes to the cost baseline. This part is crucial because it's where we can identify any financial variances and take corrective actions promptly. Now, let's talk about success. A successful project isn't just one that meets the requirements and scope, it's also about the quality of execution, completing within the schedule, and very importantly, staying within budget. This trophy symbolizes our project success. It's what we're aiming for, a project that is not only completed with high standards but also one that is financially responsible and sustainable. In conclusion, project cost management is the backbone of project success. It's a continuous process that ensures financial health from conception to completion. As we navigate through our projects, let's keep these practices in mind to deliver exceptional value without compromising on cost. As we focus on the financial health of our operations, let's discuss a crucial aspect of our business strategy: cost management. So, what exactly do we mean by cost management? It's not just a term we throw around in budget meetings, it's a comprehensive approach to planning and controlling the costs associated with running a business. Imagine you're planning a journey. Cost management is the map that guides you through financial landscapes. It's how we ensure that every dollar spent is a step towards our destination: profitability and sustainability. Cost management includes collecting, analyzing, and reporting cost information. This isn't merely number crunching. It's about gaining insights that enable us to effectively budget, forecast, and monitor costs. It's about making data-driven decisions that align with our strategic goals. But let's be clear, cost management overall is a complicated process. It's a critical knowledge area that demands precision and expertise. We must navigate through it with care, ensuring we don't miss any hidden costs or unexpected financial detours. Now, this process can be broken down into 4 key areas: resource planning, cost estimation, cost budget, and cost control. Resource planning is our groundwork. It's understanding what resources we need and when we need them. Then comes cost estimation. This is where we predict the financial requirements of these resources. Following estimation, we create our cost budget. This is our financial blueprint. It's a detailed account of every expected cost and how we plan to finance it. Lastly, cost control is our ongoing vigilance. It's continuously comparing actual spend against our budget and adjusting as necessary. It's about staying agile and responsive to ensure financial efficiency. In summary, cost management is not just a task for the finance team. It's a collective responsibility that permeates every aspect of our business. It's the discipline that ensures we're not just chasing revenues but also securing profits. With this approach, We're not only safeguarding our current operations but also paving the way for future growth and success. Let's turn our focus to the bedrock of effective project management, understanding the key elements of cost. At the heart of cost management plans is the consolidation of all project costs in one place. This includes both direct and indirect costs. But why is this important? Because it gives us a bird's-eye view of where our financial resources are allocated, and more importantly, it allows us to pinpoint areas where we can optimize spending. A project manager's role is akin to that of a captain navigating a ship through treacherous waters. They must track these costs meticulously to ensure there are no budget overruns. It's a delicate balance between staying on course and adjusting to the winds of unexpected expenses. Now, let's dissect the 5 types of costs. First, we have direct costs. These are expenses that can be directly attributed to the project, like labor and materials. Think of them as the fuel that powers our project engine. Next are indirect costs. These are not directly tied to any one project but are necessary for overall operations, like utilities and administrative expenses. They're the maintenance costs for our project vehicle. Fixed costs remain constant regardless of the project's output, such as rent or salaries. There are financial anchors, providing stability in our cost structure. Variable costs, on the other hand, fluctuate with our project's activity level. They're like the variable winds that we must adjust our sails to. And finally, sunk costs. These are past expenses that cannot be recovered, a reminder that not all financial decisions will navigate us towards success. Understanding these cost types is crucial. It helps us forecast financial needs, prepare for potential challenges, and keep our project's budget afloat. In closing, let's remember that cost management is not just about tracking numbers. It's about strategic thinking, careful planning, and sometimes, making tough decisions to steer our project towards its financial goals. Thank you for joining me to discuss a fundamental component of project budgeting, direct costs. When we speak of direct costs, we're referring to the expenses that are directly linked to the work of the project. These are the costs that you can trace back to the production of a specific product or service without any ambiguity. Direct costs are the most common type of expenses that a business or organization will incur. They are the building blocks of our financial planning, representing the tangible and quantifiable aspects of our expenditure. Consider raw materials, for instance. These are not just the foundation of a product, they are the essence of the direct costs. For a car manufacturer, this translates to the metals and materials used to create the vehicle. But it doesn't stop there. The cost of labor, the wages of the employees who meticulously assemble the cars, also falls under direct costs. Each hour of work, each skill applied, and each expertise utilized are accounted for here. Now, let's not overlook distribution or delivery costs. Whether it's the shipping of parts to the assembly line or the delivery of the finished car to the showroom, these costs are directly tied to our product's journey from conception to customer. Direct costs also encompass specialized services. Imagine hiring contractors with unique skills that are essential for designing a prototype car. Their services are direct costs because they are exclusively for that specific project. Software licenses purchased to design, test, or run simulations for our prototype are also direct costs. They are investments made specifically for the success of the project. This brings us to a critical point. Managing direct costs is not just about keeping them low, it's about strategic allocation. It's about ensuring that each dollar spent directly contributes to the value creation in our product or service. By effectively managing direct costs, we maintain control over our project budget and, by extension, the financial health of our organization. We ensure that our investments are deliberate and that our financial resources are being utilized to their maximum potential. As we wrap up, remember that direct costs are a reflection of our project's actionable financial decisions. They are the costs we must manage proactively to deliver our projects within budget and on time. We continue to explore the cost structures within our operations. Let's focus on a category that often operates behind the scenes but is crucial to our financial framework: indirect costs. Indirect costs, unlike direct costs, are not directly attributable to a specific project. Instead, they are the costs of doing business that spread across the entirety of our operations. Think of indirect costs as the roots of a tree. While not visible like the leaves or the fruit, they are essential for the tree's overall health and growth. These costs are the expenses that the company still has to pay regardless of any specific project's life cycle. They are the ongoing expenditures that our business incurs simply by existing. For instance, heating, lighting, office space rental, and even the communal coffee machine. These are all part of the day-to-day operations that indirectly support our projects. In the context of a car manufacturer, as we can see here, an indirect cost would be the electricity used to power the machines and the factory itself. This electricity fuels not just the production line but the entire facility. While you can relate this cost to production, it's not directly related because the car company uses electricity for all aspects of its business, not just manufacturing cars. Indirect costs could also include the services of departments like HR, IT, and finance. They are not part of the manufacturing process, but their functions are indispensable for the business to run smoothly. Understanding and managing indirect costs is vital. They may not fluctuate with production volume, but they do require careful planning and allocation within our budget. Effective management of indirect costs means optimizing these expenses to ensure they contribute to the overall efficiency of the company. It's about getting the best value for services that benefit multiple projects and departments. In sum, while direct costs are the more visible expenses of our projects, indirect costs are just as important. They are the supportive infrastructure that allows our projects to come to life. As we proceed, let's appreciate the role of indirect costs and manage them with the same rigor we apply to direct costs. This balanced approach is key to maintaining a healthy financial environment for our projects and our company as a whole. Today, we're zeroing in on a critical pillar of cost management: fixed costs. Let's start with the basics. Fixed costs are, in essence, everything that comes as a one-off charge. These are the steadfast numbers in our budget, immune to the ebb and flow of business activities. Unlike variable costs, fixed costs are not linked to the project duration or the volume of output. They're the consistent figures that provide stability to our financial planning. Think of fixed costs as the bedrock of a building. Just as the foundation of a building doesn't move with the wind, fixed costs remain unchanged regardless of how the winds of production blow. Costs of a business that don't vary over time, such as the rent for a building, are perfect examples of fixed costs. It's an expense that's predictable, regular, and necessary. Whether a company produces 10 units or 10,000, the cost of rent remains the same. It's the financial certainty in an otherwise fluctuating business environment. Now, one might say fixed costs are generally one of the easiest costs to work out. And that's because of their predictability. When planning our financial year, these are the numbers we can count on to remain steady. Consider the fleet of trucks we see here. The company has to spend on these assets maintenance and parking, regardless of how many deliveries are made each day. The only time when this cost might change is if the company scales up or down, moving to bigger or smaller premises, or adjusting the size of its fleet according to the demand. Understanding fixed costs allows us to navigate our financial landscape with greater confidence. It enables us to make strategic decisions about scaling, investing, and pricing. As we close, remember this: fixed costs may not be glamorous, they don't fluctuate with market trends or production highs and lows, but they are the silent guardians of our financial fortitude. Now, we shine the spotlight on variable costs, a key player in the financial modeling of any business. Variable costs are the opposite of fixed costs. These are the charges that ebb and flow with the life of a project, directly aligning with production levels. Imagine variable costs as the fuel in your car. The further you travel, or the more you produce, the more fuel, or costs, you will need. Variable costs are a type of business expense that varies directly with production. As the level of production or project scope increases, so too do these costs. Conversely, when production slows down, these costs decrease, providing a flexible backbone to our financial structure. What do these costs encompass? They can include direct labor costs, such as the wages paid to workers on the production line, or sales commissions, which are a function of sales volume. Consider the staff salaries over the duration of a project. A 12-month project will naturally incur more labor costs than a 6-month one due to the extended period of work. Or take machine hire as an example. Hiring machinery for 8 weeks will be more costly than hiring for 3 weeks. It's a simple equation of time and resource usage. Let's look at a practical scenario. A company that offers sales commissions to each salesperson will see an increase in its variable costs if its sales soar. More sales equal more commissions paid out. But the beauty of variable costs lies in their adaptability. Should there be a drop in sales, the company would see a corresponding decrease in commissions. This adaptability allows for more responsive financial management. Managing variable costs requires a keen eye on production metrics and sales forecasts. It's a balancing act between resource allocation and output, ensuring that we only spend more when there's a justified increase in production or sales. In conclusion, variable costs are a vital aspect of our cost management strategy. They represent the flexible and responsive part of our budget, allowing our business to adapt quickly to market changes. Now, we're dissecting a term that often comes up in financial discussions but can be misunderstood: sunk costs.
Sunk costs are the expenditures that have already been incurred and cannot be recovered. They're the financial steps we've taken in the past that have shaped where we are today.
These costs could be of any type: fixed, variable, direct, or indirect. But the defining feature is that they are irrevocable. Once you've spent money on a marketing campaign, research and development, or purchasing equipment, that money is spent, regardless of the outcome. It's important to note that sunk costs are historic. They are like footprints in the sand, evidence of our journey, but not something that can be picked up and reused. Businesses must be aware of sunk costs for informed decision-making. However, these costs should not tether us to past decisions when we are charting the future course of our business. Consider a car manufacturing company that spends a significant amount on new equipment. This is a sunk cost. The equipment purchase itself is a done deal, the money is spent, but the equipment can help the company produce more cars over time, potentially increasing profits. While the business can't recover the initial outlay, the decision to spend that money may still enable them to make a profit as a result of increased productivity and efficiency. This is the subtle art of managing sunk costs, recognizing them, learning from them, but not letting them dictate future strategies. It's about looking forward, not backward. Sunk costs are a common oversight in decision-making processes. While they should be acknowledged, they should not cloud our judgment or lead us into the fallacy of throwing good money after bad. In closing, remember this: sunk costs are part of business history, not a shackle to hold us back. We acknowledge them, we learn from them, and then we move on, making decisions based on the future, not the expenditures of the past.